How much shaky video can we stand, friends? Hello, happy Friday. It is another camera. It is another Friday Reads in the car. So I am still currently reading Midnight in Indigo. It's a collection of 22 speculative works of fiction short works by Black women. Iyana A. Small was the editor of this lovely work. So I was thinking, what can I say that's different from what I said last time? First, I can give you a status update. I am enjoying it. It has 272 pages of story, and I am on page 164. I'm sort of in the last half of the book. I think I have a pretty good sense of, I think I have a pretty good sense of the stories. I still am liking it. Okay, so I guess I have a couple things to say about reading short stories, because with some collections and anthologies, I get fatigue in the middle, and I don't want to read story after story after story. I'm thirsty for like intense world building. I want to just jump in and get lost in a story for a couple of days or weeks or months. I'm not feeling that desire in this case. It may just be because I have a lot going on in my life right now, and being able to read a short story in like 15-20 minutes is doing it for me, right? And I would commend the interview that I did with Eugene Bacon to you, because in that interview, she talked about her approach to writing short story collections and also her process for reading them. And I just found it really liberating. And I feel like this is maybe the second or third short story collection I've read since that interview. And I can definitely credit her for encouraging me to be a little bit more elastic in my approach to short stories. You don't have to read them in order. And like, I don't know, do you read your short stories in order when you've got a collection or an anthology?
I do.
You do? Why?
I just like to go from front to back.
From beginning to end. You trust, because like, it's kind of like you trust the order of what the editor put together. Like, obviously, if they put this story before this story, they did it for a reason.
Like, there's a flow.
There's a flow. Yeah. So that's kind of my approach, and apparently my wife's approach as well. So that's good.
You seem doubtful that because my TBR list is so long, I feel judged. So it's, so I guess it feels, I love you. It feels weird to do that, to read things out of order, almost like this is not how it was intended. But so I'm not doing that, but I'm liking the order of the stories. And I guess now that I'm giving myself the option to read stories out of order, it also has me thinking, well, why was this story placed before this other one? Like, what was the reasoning? Is there a meta story that's being told here? And how do I feel about that one? So I'm enjoying what I'm reading. The last story that I read, I read a couple of stories. The last two stories that I can remember, one is called Lay Me Down to Sleep. And I should be really good to the author, so let me explain. Lay Me Down to Sleep was written by... Oh, okay. Lay Me Down to Sleep was written by a person named Silk Jasmine. And it was post-apocalyptic patriarchal society. A woman is being called to task by the justice system for a grave error, a legal act that she did. And of course, as a lawyer, give me political, legal world building, and I am ready. Post-apocalyptic, I'm ready for it. Having a Black woman at the center of a post-apocalyptic political / legal short work of speculative fiction, like, I just love it. It was very, very, very good.
I also read a story called The Guardian by Nicole Kurtz, which was also excellent. That was more of a dark fantasy, kind of, it had elements of portal magic, kind of, and animal stuff. That was really clear, right? Clear as day. But it was really, really, really good. I love magical objects, and this story had magical objects, and it was super interesting and trippy. And I like stories that kind of play with your sense of reality. This might be a shaky video, but that's what cars do. And then the last story that I read was, I just finished this yesterday, Morph by Kanila or Kanila, I mean, who really knows, Wilson. And that one was also good. But I did have a problem with that one, and it was simply the pacing and the weight, the distribution of character building versus plot development, left me wanting less character and more plot. So, and a little bit more world. But it was written from the perspective of a girl, a young Black girl. And you know that I've said this before, I love when we are able to read stories about Black children encountering magic amidst the realities of their day, like poverty, classism, challenging families, religion, homophobia, like all ableism, like all of that stuff. So I enjoyed that story for what it was, but needed a little bit more. I think that I'm trending more towards the short, sweet, tight stories, 10 pages or less. I think once I get into the longer stories, I'm thinking you might as well just be a novella or a novelette. Like, let's just commit. So there are a lot of super, super short stories. I want to read a little bit more flash fiction. So I'm enjoying it. I've got about 8 or 9 stories left. I'm hoping that I'll be able to finish this over the weekend because I have other reading obligations. The Octavia E. Butler Slow Read is going to be starting. So my slow reads on YouTube for Adulthood Rights, which is the second book in the Xenogenesis series, that should be starting either this coming week or the next. So that's one thing that has to be read. Also, I'm due to read Deathless Divide by Justina Ireland, which is a sequel to Dread Nation. I'm looking forward to that, and I'm particularly looking forward to reading that from decolonization and from an Indigenous-centered lens, to the extent that I have that, because I really respect the critiques that were made by Bear of A2 Brody, because they were talking about, in their video, they were talking about some of the really problematic anti-Indigenous tropes in that book, and I wasn't reading for that and should have been reading for that when I read Dread Nation. So I'm going to continue with the series. I did enjoy it, but I'm going to read it more responsibly with that in mind and see how that shifts my my view of the book. So that is for the Solar-Powered Afrofuturism Slow Reading Group, which I co-lead with Isis of Sister Sci-Fi and Chloe of Thistle and Verse. Speaking of Chloe, I feel like I talk about Chloe in every single video, and I do, because she's that amazing. Chloe is now doing monthly interviews with people in the Black science fiction fantasy community. This week, I think tomorrow, she's premiering a video with Brent Lambert. Now, I think Brent. I think Brent Lambert is a very incredible person. So I met Brent through Faya magazine, and also the FiyaCon convention. He is a writer, he is an editor, he is a community organizer, but I think most importantly, he's a lovely person. And you should follow him on all of the socials. You know when people like exude goodness? There's so many people that I've met through Faya who exude talent and goodness and collaboration, and he is awesome. So I believe that I've read one short story that he has written. I haven't read enough of his work, but I'm now getting deeper into the Black science fiction and fantasy community, that I now meet people before I read their work. So I get to have these experiences where I'm just like, wow, that person's amazing. Now I'm going to Google them and find out what they've written. So yes, that's an interview that I'm looking forward to, because I love Chloe's interviews and I really like Brent, and I want to learn more about his writing, his community work, and also his work in the science fiction fantasy community. The other thing that I want to talk about is I will be going to Washington, D.C. for DisCon 3, which is the biggest world science fiction convention. It's Worldcon, but it's happening in DC, and I believe when it happens in DC it's called DisCon, I don't know. Anyway, this is where the Hugos are being awarded. I am going in person, which is kind of freaky, but it's gonna happen. I'm very much looking forward to the trip, and looking forward to spending a lot of time meeting a lot of people. So there's gonna be a lot of interaction. There will be vlogging, but that's happening in mid-December. So I am starting, like, once the month countdown starts, I'm going to start getting very excited. So that's something that's happening. I will probably talk about it more. If you will be at DisCon, please let me know. I am considering doing like a DC meetup, booktube meetup, but I don't know if there are enough people in the DMV or in DC to do something like that. But plans are in the works for interaction. All right. Is there anything else I need to say? Okay. So we're good. Read with purpose, everyone. And what are you reading purposefully right now? Oh, I guess I should also say that on November 10th, there will be a restock of the 2022 Melanin Eclectic Reading Planner on Brittany's channel. That means if you didn't get your life together and order it when there weren't limited numbers, you can do it now. But they're going to go fast. So go onto Instagram, follow Brittany, go to Melanin Eclectic shop, figure out how the website works, make sure that when the sale opens, you are in line to get one of the limited number of planners. Do not DM Brittany asking her questions that she has already answered on her website and on her Instagram and on Twitter and on her videos. Just go and be available on November 10th. There will be a limited restock of Melanin Eclectic planners. I hope you get 1 or 10. And, I think she's limited it to 1 per person. But anyway, there'll be another opportunity. So you've been told. Enjoy. Okay, with that, read with purpose. Have a wonderful Friday. And I look forward to the next time we get to interact on the internet. Bye.